Rain crashed against the giant glass windows of the mansion as billionaire Ethan Cole stood frozen in shock. His 8-year-old son Noah was crying beside the dining table, while a young woman defended him against Ethan's furious shouting. "Money can buy tutors," she said bravely, "but it cannot buy your son's happiness." No one had ever spoken to Ethan like that before. Especially not a woman with tired eyes, cheap clothes, and a heart stronger than his entire empire. That night changed everything. Claire Bennett worked 2 jobs just to survive. During the day, she taught at a small private school. At night, she cared for her sick mother in their tiny apartment. She never expected her life to cross paths with billionaire Ethan Cole. When the school principal told her she had been selected as Noah Cole's private teacher, she hesitated. Everyone in the city feared Ethan. Cole. Ruthless. Untouchable. But Claire needed the money badly. So she accepted the job, unaware it would completely change her life forever. The first time Claire entered Ethan's mansion, she felt small. The marble floors, giant chandeliers, and silent staff made the house feel more like a museum than a home. Noah sat alone near the staircase, quietly drawing superheroes on paper. "Hi," Claire smiled softly. "I'm your new teacher." The boy looked up carefully. "You leave too," he whispered. Claire's heart broke instantly. Before she could answer, Ethan appeared from upstairs in a dark suit, watching her with cold, emotionless eyes. Ethan believed emotions made people weak. After losing his wife 3 years earlier in a tragic accident, he buried himself in business and ignored everything else, including Noah. Claire noticed it immediately. Noah craved attention more than expensive toys. During lessons, the little boy constantly talked about superheroes saving lonely people. One afternoon, Claire asked gently, "Do you miss your dad?" Noah lowered his head. "He lives here," he said quietly, "but it feels like he's far away." Claire suddenly understood the sadness hidden inside this giant mansion. One evening, Claire stayed late helping Noah prepare for a school competition. As they laughed together over messy paint projects, Ethan watched silently from the hallway. He hadn't heard Noah laugh like that in years. For a moment, something unfamiliar touched his heart. Later, Ethan entered the study room. "You're good with him," he admitted coldly. Claire looked directly into his eyes. "He doesn't need perfection, Mr. Cole. He needs love." Her words hit harder than any business rival ever had. The next morning, Ethan found Noah waiting excitedly near the breakfast table for Claire's arrival. Usually, the boy barely spoke during meals. But now he smiled again. Ethan hated how much that affected him. At work, billion-dollar meetings suddenly felt meaningless compared to the sound of his son laughing upstairs. For the first time in years, Ethan left the office early. When he returned home, he saw Claire asleep on the couch beside Noah, both surrounded by books and crayons. The peaceful image stayed in his mind all night. Claire slowly became the warmth inside the cold mansion. The staff adored her kindness. Noah became happier every day. Even Ethan's harsh personality softened slightly around her. One rainy afternoon, the power suddenly went out across the mansion. Noah became frightened by the thunder. Without thinking, Ethan and Claire rushed together to comfort him. In the darkness, their hands accidentally touched. Both froze. For one brief second, Ethan felt something dangerous, hope. Claire tried to ignore her growing feelings. A billionaire and a struggling teacher belonged to completely different worlds. Still, Ethan's hidden pain slowly became visible to her. One evening, she found him sitting alone in his office staring at an old photo of his late wife. "You still love her," Claire whispered gently. Ethan nodded silently. "I don't know how to stop hurting." For the first time, the powerful billionaire looked broken instead of strong. Claire realized lonely hearts recognize each other easily. At school, rumors about Claire and Ethan began spreading. Teachers whispered behind her back. Some parents accused her of chasing money. Claire pretended not to care, but the cruel comments hurt deeply. Meanwhile, Ethan overheard 2 businessmen insulting Claire during a dinner meeting. Without hesitation, he slammed his glass onto the table. "Speak about her again," he warned coldly, "and your companies disappear tomorrow." The entire room fell silent. For the first time, Ethan defended someone not because of business, but because he cared. Noah noticed the growing connection between them before anyone else. One afternoon, he smiled mischievously during class. "You should marry my dad," he said casually. Claire nearly dropped her notebook. "Noah." Little boy grinned. "He smiles when you're here." That innocent sentence stayed in Claire's heart long after she left the mansion. Because deep down, she had noticed it too. The cold billionaire who once terrified everyone now looked at her differently, softer, warmer, almost afraid to lose her. Ethan invited Claire and Noah to a charity gala. Claire almost refused after seeing the luxurious guest list. But Noah begged her to come. When Claire entered the ballroom wearing a simple, elegant dress, the entire room stared. Even Ethan couldn't look away. For a moment, she took his breath completely. During dinner, wealthy women mocked Claire quietly. But Ethan shocked everyone by pulling her chair closer beside him. "She belongs at my table," he said proudly. Claire's heart raced uncontrollably. Later that night, Claire stood alone on the balcony overlooking the city lights. Ethan joined her silently. "You were uncomfortable tonight," he admitted. "I don't fit into your world," Claire answered honestly. Ethan looked at her carefully. "My world was empty before you entered it." The air between them changed instantly. For the first time, neither could hide their feelings anymore. As the cold wind surrounded them, Ethan gently placed his jacket over her shoulders. Claire felt safer than she had in years. The next morning, tabloids exploded with headlines about Ethan and Claire. Photographers followed her everywhere. Her private life disappeared overnight. Claire became overwhelmed. She confronted Ethan angrily inside his office. "This is destroying my life." Ethan looked guilty for the first time. "I'm trying to protect you." "I don't need your money or protection," she replied emotionally. "I just want peace." Her tears shook Ethan deeply because he realized his world brought pain into hers. That evening, Claire decided to resign. She packed her books quietly while Noah watched with confused eyes. "You're leaving?" he whispered. Claire could barely speak. "This isn't your fault." Noah suddenly hugged her tightly and began crying. "Please don't go. Everyone always leaves me." The words shattered her heart. At that exact moment, Ethan entered the room and saw his son begging her to stay. For the first time in years, Ethan felt truly afraid, not of losing money, but losing family. Ethan followed Claire outside into the pouring rain. "Don't leave," he said desperately. Claire turned around, shocked by the emotion in his voice. "You don't understand what this life is doing to me." Ethan stepped closer slowly. "I understand more than you think." Rain soaked both of them as silence filled the air. Then Ethan finally admitted the truth he had been hiding. "When you walked into this house, you brought life back into it." Claire's tears mixed with the rain as her heart weakened completely. Claire returned to the mansion the next morning, mostly because she couldn't forget Noah's tears. When Noah saw her standing near the doorway, he ran into her arms happily. Even Ethan looked relieved. Things slowly felt warmer inside the house again. That evening, the three of them cooked dinner together for the first time. The kitchen became messy with flour, laughter, and burned pancakes. At one point, Claire looked around quietly and realized something terrifying. This no longer felt like work. It felt like family. Days passed peacefully until Ethan's powerful business rival, Victor Lang, discovered Claire's importance in Ethan's life. Victor believed emotions made powerful men weak. During a major business meeting, Victor smirked coldly. "Careful, Ethan. Poor girls usually fall in love with money first." The room became silent instantly. Ethan stood up slowly, rage burning in his eyes. "Say another word about her," he warned dangerously, "and this partnership ends today." Victor laughed nervously, realizing Ethan's feelings were far deeper than anyone imagined. Claire began noticing changes in Ethan that surprised everyone. He attended Noah's school events. He started eating dinner at home. He even smiled more often. One afternoon during Noah's soccer match, Claire watched Ethan cheering proudly from the sidelines like an ordinary father. Noah looked happier than ever before. After the game, Ethan caught Claire staring at him. "What?" he asked softly. Claire smiled. "You're finally becoming the man your son always needed." For once, Ethan looked proud of something beyond business success. Late one night, Claire received terrible news. Her mother's health suddenly became worse, and hospital bills kept increasing. She sat alone outside the hospital crying quietly. Without warning, Ethan appeared beside her. "How did you know?" she whispered. "You disappeared from the mansion," he answered gently. "I got worried." Claire broke down emotionally. For the first time in years, someone stayed beside her during her hardest moment instead of walking away. Ethan silently held her shaking hand all night in the hospital waiting room. The next morning, Claire discovered Ethan had secretly paid every hospital expense for her mother. Furious, she rushed to confront him. "I told you I don't want your money." Ethan remained calm. "This wasn't charity." "Then what was it?" He stepped closer carefully. "It was love." Claire froze completely. The powerful billionaire who once feared emotions was now standing in front of her, openly vulnerable. His eyes held no pride anymore. Only honesty. Only fear of losing her. Claire tried to resist her feelings, but her heart betrayed her every time Ethan looked at her. One evening, they sat together near the mansion garden while Noah slept upstairs. The city lights glowed softly around them. "You scare me," Claire admitted quietly. Ethan looked confused. "Why?" "Because I'm starting to need you." Those words hit Ethan deeply. Slowly, he reached for her hand. This time, she didn't pull away. In the silence of the night, their hearts finally stopped hiding from each other. Meanwhile, the media became more aggressive. Reporters waited outside Claire's apartment and school every day. Cruel articles called her a gold digger teacher. Claire pretended to stay strong, but inside she was breaking apart. One afternoon, Noah accidentally read one of the headlines online. "Why are people so mean to Claire?" he asked sadly. Ethan looked at the screen with cold fury. That night, he held a massive press conference. Standing before hundreds of cameras, he publicly defended Claire for the entire world to hear. "She is the kindest person I've ever met," Ethan said firmly during the press conference. "She changed my son's life and mine." The reporters became stunned. Ethan Cole never spoke emotionally in public. But then he shocked everyone even more. "I don't care about status, wealth, or public opinion anymore." Claire watched the live broadcast from her apartment with tears filling her eyes. For the first time, someone chose her openly instead of hiding her like a secret. And that meant everything. That evening, Ethan arrived at Claire's apartment carrying flowers awkwardly like a nervous teenager. Claire opened the door slowly. Before she could speak, Ethan said softly, "I spent years building companies, but I never learned how to love someone properly." Claire's eyes became emotional. Ethan stepped closer. "But you taught me." For a few silent seconds, neither moved. Then Claire finally touched his face gently, and Ethan kissed her for the very first time. Slow, emotional, and filled with years of loneliness finally ending. Their relationship changed everything inside the mansion. Noah became brighter, happier, and more confident at school. Even the staff noticed the house no longer felt cold. One morning, Noah smiled proudly during breakfast. "We finally look like a real family." Claire and Ethan exchanged emotional glances. For Ethan, those simple words meant more than every award and billion-dollar deal combined. But happiness never comes without challenges. Because someone from Ethan's painful past was about to return and destroy the peace they had built together. A woman named Isabella suddenly appeared at Ethan's office claiming shocking information about his late wife's accident. Ethan became pale after hearing her story. According to Isabella, the accident may not have been accidental at all. Claire noticed Ethan becoming distant and emotionally lost again. Late one night, she found him drinking alone in darkness. "I can't lose another person I love," he whispered painfully. Claire sat beside him quietly. "No matter what happened in your past," she said softly, "you don't have to face it alone anymore." As Ethan investigated the truth, dangerous secrets about his company began surfacing. Victor Lang had secretly manipulated business deals years earlier, leading indirectly to the tragedy involving Ethan's wife. The truth destroyed Ethan emotionally. Consumed by guilt and rage, he pushed everyone away again, including Claire. "You should stay away from me," Ethan warned coldly. "Everyone near me gets hurt." But Claire refused to leave this time. She grabbed his hand firmly. "No," she whispered with tears. "I'm staying because I love you." Those words broke the walls around Ethan's heart completely. For years, he believed love only brought pain and loss. But Claire stayed beside him during his darkest moment instead of running away. One rainy evening, Ethan took Claire and Noah to the beach outside the city. The three of them laughed together near the ocean waves like a normal family. Watching Noah smile beside Claire, Ethan realized something life-changing. Success was never the billions. Success was this moment, the people standing beside him with love in their hearts. Weeks later, Ethan organized a private dinner inside the mansion garden under glowing lights. Claire thought it was simply a family celebration. But suddenly, Ethan stood up holding a small velvet box in trembling hands. Noah grinned excitedly beside him. Ethan looked directly into Claire's emotional eyes. "You gave my son his happiness back," he said softly. "And you gave me my heart back too." Then he knelt down slowly. "Claire Bennett, will you marry me?" Tears streamed down Claire's face instantly. Claire said yes before Ethan even finished speaking. Noah jumped happily between them while the garden filled with laughter and tears. Months later, the mansion that once felt cold and empty became filled with warmth, love, and family dinners. Ethan finally understood the truth money could never teach him. The richest man in the city had once owned everything except happiness. But a simple teacher with a beautiful heart changed his life forever. And every night afterward, Ethan thanked God for the woman who taught him how to love again.